But what inspired me is, first and foremost, I wanted to make something that, it's when you make a public work, it's different than making a work for a gallery or a museum because you're kind of trying to speak to everybody. I mean, that's impossible, but it's a little different impetus to make the piece or how you approach it. So having said that, I wanted to make something that was exciting, that charged the space, that so the big eyeball, it charges, first and foremost, it kind of charges the space, meaning it changes the space. It messes with your scale or the viewer's scale. It makes you too small. It kind of anthropomorphizes the city in a weird way. And also just looking at Chicago, there's a lot of big sculpture, or not a lot, but there are some big sculptures already in Chicago. There's the Bean, Cloud Gate. There's the Calder, Flamingo. There's the Picasso. And so, in a way, I saw those as my competition, but I didn't, which just sounded really pretentious, but I also didn't want to repeat them, And those pieces are sort of abstract or on the way to abstraction, and I thought, well, how can I make something that was sort of populist, but maybe a little different than them? And I is just, it's a classic. I mean, I don't really want to say what I think it's about because it's one of those things that there's no mystery to it. There's no hidden agenda. It's just a big, giant eyeball. It's like, it means a lot of different things. The eyeball's been used for lots of different things. It's on the dollar bill, the eye. And I don't think anybody really thinks about that. Now, having said all that, I guess the easiest way to say it is the eye is, the window to the soul. You've heard that. The eye is the window to the soul. I guess I saw it as just a symbol of consciousness, of an ego. When a person makes an artwork, on the simplest level, it's kind of making concrete their ego, right? So I thought that eye was a great symbol of that. Also, people come to look at an artwork. I thought I'd have the artwork look at them for a change and sort of. So it's about a lot of things, But I guess the simplest is just sort of say that it's a symbol of the ego, of consciousness, of sort of being a human. And it's fiberglass. There's a steel structure underneath it, and it's made out of fiberglass, and the painting is airbrushed on. So I sort of collaborate with them, particularly when it comes to the painting part. But so I sort of work with them, and it's going to be 30 feet tall, so it's it's really big. You have to get, I have to hire cranes, I have to get permits, I have to get. You have to get engineers to sort of approve all the plans. I have to get a foundation poured. So, I'm sort of the subcontractor on all this stuff, once I get the idea out. Because it's competing with the city. It's downtown Chicago, and just to have any kind of effect or, it's not like putting something in a small room. All my work is not that big, but it's the city of big shoulders. I mean, I don't really want to make something that just decorates. I really want it to activate the space. So a certain scale is somewhat required, I think. I just think they'll think it's cool. Right. I mean, there's lots of ways you can interpret it. The eye on the dollar bill is a sign of God. But it's also kind of rock and roll. It's kind of kitsch. It's sort of like, if you look at kids, in high school drawing on their math notebooks, they draw flames and bloody eyeballs and arrows. It's a classic kind of thing that really represents people. I mean, what I don't want them to do, I just want them to get whatever they want out of it. But really, more than anything, I just want it to be kind of fun and exciting and sort of psychological. It's different than just a big, I think that's the difference between it and a completely abstract object, is that it's a sort of a psychological object. It's a little creepy, I think, I hope, if I do it well enough.